Before we jump into the latest Chiefs rumors and overreactions here on NFL Overreaction Monday, how upset are you after the Chiefs' Week 3 loss to the Colts? Scale it from 1 to 10. 1 being not upset at all. It happens. It's the NFL. 100 being you're pissed off as hell still. Let me know. I'm closer to 100 than 1 because that's a game you should have won. It's not a game to panic over. This is still a really good football team, but every game counts, especially when you're trying to get the top seed in the AFC. Scale it from 1 to 100. How upset are you after this loss? You're watching the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I am Harrison Graham. Appreciate you guys for tuning in here on Overreaction Monday. And that's what this is. We're going to discuss the biggest overreactions coming in, and maybe they're not all overreactions. A lot to get into here on today's show. A lot of headlines to cover after the Chiefs lost 20-17 to the Indianapolis Colts in Week 3 to fall to 2-1 on the season. 3 big topics I want to get into here on today's show, so let's get this started. Number 1, here on Overreaction Monday, should the Chiefs fire Eric Bieniemy? I think it's a fair question to ask, man. I gotta say, I think it's a fair question to ask. Now, I don't think they're going to fire him. I don't necessarily think a midseason firing 3 weeks in makes sense, but here's what did happen. We saw Patrick Mahomes and Bieniemy audibly arguing at the end of the first half when the Chiefs opted to run the football and run the clock out instead of chase points. Mahomes didn't seem happy with it. Andy Reid had to he didn't break anything up, and he kind of walked over and was like, let's go to the locker room, guys. Like, let's talk about it in there. I got to say, I don't think these guys like each other. I don't think Patrick Mahomes and Eric Bieniemy like each other. Remember what happened last year against the Bengals? Remember that big report of the Eric Bieniemy bombshell? Then that outlet took the report down and said, oh, we didn't have all our facts, yada, yada, yada. Well, there's smoke. Where there's smoke, there's typically fire. I think there's some truth that Patrick Mahomes and Eric Bieniemy are not on the same page, that they do not get along. Now, Mahomes, after the game, was, of course, asked about this and talked about it. He said, look, I wanted to go and try and score, talking about the end of the first half. We were in a tough position, and the smart thing was to go to halftime. I told him to let me have a chance at it, and then he said, let's just get back to the locker room and get something going for the second half. So I'll give Mahomes credit. He's the face of the franchise. He's defending his coach. He's saying, hey, the smart thing was probably just to get to halftime, get to the locker room. But, and I respect him for being a pro, but this is Mahomes. You're at the 36-yard line with 20 seconds left. We saw him go, 13 seconds left against the Bills in the divisional round last year. He goes like 50 yards in 2 plays to get into field goal range, and with 20 seconds left at the 36, you're telling me you have no confidence that he can get into field goal range. I'm not a fan of that, man. I'm letting my franchise quarterback sling it 1 or 2 more times, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Then you go to the locker room. But 20 seconds for this offense is a long time. I respect Mahomes for being a pro and saying the right things afterward, but these two guys are not on the same page. There's some dysfunction with that relationship, in my opinion. What do you guys think? Should the Chiefs fire Eric Bieniemy? Pin comment on today's show. Type Y for yes. Type in for no. Should Kansas City fire their offensive coordinator? I want to know what you guys think down in the comment section. Pin comment during this YouTube ad break. Y for yes or in for no. Now, obviously, again, I don't expect EB to be fired right now, and I don't know if actually firing him 3 weeks into a season really makes sense. I don't know if it sends the right message to the fan base. Andy Reid, does he take back full-time play calling? There's a lot of things to consider. But more of what I'm saying is this is not the first time we've seen this, and I think there's a good argument to be made that bringing him back this year was probably a mistake. I think there's some truth to that. Remember the AFC title game blow-up report? Remember that rumor? I think there was truth to it, man. Into the first half, Mahomes wants to stay on the field for one more play to try and get a touchdown. He throws it to Tyreek Hill. He gets tackled in bounds. Half is over. There was reportedly a blow-up between Bieniemy and Mahomes and even Mike Kafka at halftime. And, of course, the Chiefs downplayed that. But I don't know, man. There's something going on here. There's something off. It just doesn't feel right. LeSean McCoy, former Chiefs running back, who to be fair, was kind of washed by the time he got to Kansas City, and he didn't play much of a factor. It's possible, he's just running his mouth, he's butthurt, whatever. But this is the second time he's gone after Bieniemy. He says all Bieniemy does is argue with the players. He knows nothing about passing or play calling. And McCoy played under Eric Bieniemy in 2019. It's not like he's just talking completely out of his you-know-what. He can offer at least some context here from his opinion. Now, his opinion isn't the end-all, be-all. I'm not saying everything LeSean McCoy says is gospel, but it's not like he's an outsider. He played for this franchise under Eric Bieniemy, and if he says the guy sucks, maybe there's something true to it. I don't know. I think there's a lot of evidence that there's something off at this point with Bieniemy in this organization. Teams haven't hired him for a reason to be a head coach. Maybe players don't like him. Maybe he gets into these interviews and, when he uses references, he doesn't have any players that have his back for other organizations. I don't know. Something's off. It feels off. They argued again. They know cameras are going to pick it up. I don't know, man. I know I've said I don't know those three words a lot here, but I think if you say I don't know that much, isn't that a problem? Isn't that a question mark? I'm not panicking, but at the same time, something feels off with Bieniemy. I got to wonder if it's best for both sides if they just move on after this season. You look up the next 5 games, this relationship has got to work because it's going to get harder. I'm not worried about the Chiefs' ability to compete and win games, but you go to Tampa next week. That's going to be a tough game. A desperate Raiders team, a divisional matchup, prime time the week after that. That's not just going to be a layup. Bills the week after that. We know how tough that's going to be. At San Francisco, they've got a damn good defense. Tennessee at home just beat the Raiders, so they're playing better. Things are going to get tougher. The Colts, you think the Colts is going to be a challenge? Get ready. This schedule gets a lot harder. That's why I said it was a trap game. They bit into the trap, and that is very, very unfortunate. We'll see how things shake out with Bieniemy moving forward, but I didn't like what I saw on Sunday at the end of the first half. Get going with BetUS if you want to make some money all season long. BetUS is the place to do it. Get an account created today. Chatsports.com/ChiefsBet. Link is on your screen. Use promo code Chiefs125 to get 125% deposit bonus. Put down $100, you get $125 for free. Chiefs still the pretty heavy favorite to win the AFC West. These odds are updated at -120. God, if they would have just won that game yesterday, they'd be cruising. Denver's also 2-1, but Vegas not a believer yet. That's +275. Chargers at +325, and LOL at the Raiders +1,600. They are 0-3. So Chiefs still the betting favorite. If you want to make some money, chatsports.com/ChiefsBet. Promo code Chiefs125. All right, a lot of time spent on Bieniemy in the relationship ongoing with Patrick Mahomes. Is Skyy Moore a bust? That's next up here. Overreaction. Let's not make this more than what it is, right? Am I a little concerned about Skyy Moore? Absolutely. Had a strong training camp in preseason, and now he's just a non-factor. If anything, he's a negative factor this past game. But it's way too early to say the kid's a bust. Come on. The guy's played 3 games in his NFL career. Way too early to call Skyy Moore a bust. That way too early. But I don't love what I'm seeing out of the second-round rookie either. I thought he'd be playing a bigger role at this point. He's your wide receiver 5, let's be honest. Justin Watson is ahead of him. That's just a fact. And he's muffing punts. That can't happen. The main job of his right now is to be the punt returner, and he's dropping punts. That was a big one. That gave the Colts an early touchdown. Special teams was an absolute disaster in this game. You're muffing punts. You're missing short field goals. We'll get to Amendola in a second. If Skyy Moore catches this punt, you probably win the game. Real talk. Scoreless game early. He drops the punt. You give Colts an easy 7. Give Matt Ryan some confidence. That muff punt can't happen. On the road, you're trying to set the tone. You can't give a struggling team like Indianapolis coming into that game just a free 7 points. That's unacceptable. So he's got to be better. But to call him a bust, I've seen this somewhere, a few places online. That's way too early to declare Skyy Moore a bust, but we got to see some improvement here as well. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Kansas City Chiefs Report. If you don't, you're going to miss out because we publish daily videos, the latest news, rumors, buzz around this team all season long. Some watch parties as well. Didn't do one this week. Hopefully we'll be able to do one next week. Hit that sub button right now. Let's get to 32,000 subs. We're like 150 away or so. So help us get there. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV. It is 100% free. Let's continue with Chiefs Overreaction Monday here. One more story to go. Obviously, Matt Ammendola really struggled. Should the Chiefs cut him? Well, yeah, they just did, actually, right after we filmed this. Jumping back in here. He gone. Matt Ammendola, no longer a Chief. Field Yates had the report from ESPN that the Chiefs have released Matt Ammendola from the practice squad. He struggled in Sunday's loss to the Colts. Yeah, he struggled. He missed a short field goal, a 34-yarder, missed an extra point, a 33-yarder, which disappointing because I thought he kicked the ball really well on Thursday Night Football against the Chargers. You go indoors at Indianapolis, Lucas Oil Field, and you miss 2 short kicks. Those should be perfect kicking conditions. So not great, and quite frankly, he was a big reason why the Chiefs lost. So he is now on the chopping block. We'll see what Harrison Butker's status is. He's been nursing an ankle injury. I wouldn't necessarily view this as an indication as whether or not Harrison Butker will be back this week. I hope he is. Hopefully he is back soon. But if not, you're going to have to go sign another kicker to the practice squad and elevate that person for game day. Rodrigo Blankenship, Liam Hiralahu is available. A couple of guys out there, Michael Badgley. But just remember, these guys are free agents for a reason. If they were stud kickers, they'd be in the league because there's not 32 excellent kickers out there. There's about 10 really good ones, 10 solid ones, and then the other 10 or 12 NFL teams, they don't feel super confident with their kicking situation. Chiefs are confident with Harrison Butker. There's a reason Matt Ammendola had one good game and one not good game. Was cutting Amendola the right move? Type R for right, type W for wrong. I definitely think it was. It was a bad performance the other day. And when your backup kicker costs you a game, just find another backup kicker, right? Like, you don't have to settle for Matt Ammendola. So I think it was the right call, R for right or W for wrong. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to today's Chiefs Report. Lots of overreactions and news and headlines happening, and hopefully we covered it all for you guys. Hit that sub button. Daily Chiefs videos coming at you. You can also follow me on social media at HGramNFL. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. We'll see you soon here on the Chiefs Report.